Wait till you see what they did to my car.
You're live, Freedom Friday. What's your name and where you calling from?
It's Curtis. When car dealers attack, Tim.
Oh man, Curtis.
Curtis, hang up on me now. It's not Freedom Friday.
Listen.
If you don't allow me to speak, it's not Freedom Friday, right?
Hey, I control it though. It's my platform, brother. Look, no hate speech. Go right ahead.
Okay, listen. I want to make a little bit of comment in regards to the Russian thing. I think some of it is a diversion, and the media does play diversions. And I think you guys have keyed into that. But the reality is that the Russians were going to build a pipeline into Syria. They have a naval base there. If that energy is released into Europe, it competes with the petrodollar, the energy companies in Europe and us. They have to protect the petrodollar by the currency, just like the cars now. We could have had electric cars, but they don't want electric cars because they want fuel consumption. As you see, France says in 2040, they're going to ban the combustion engine. Many of the nations in the world are going to pull away from it. As far as the lawyer that you see that was involved in the Russian meeting, this woman was involved recently, just recently. This is just last year. A $125 million money laundering scam in New York with the Russians, and they settled for $6 million. Yes, remember, they had sanctions against Russia. When you lift sanctions against a country, the corporations get to set up shop. It creates new markets. So and the Russians will use anyone to relieve the sanctions over the UK, the issues that we've had over there, to bring in, and then the corporation state, the fascist state, sells up for blood money. And as far as Cordoba, he works for the University of Nova in regards to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Debbie Schultz knows who I am, okay, personally, okay? I've been calling her for years. But Cordoba works for Nova, and Nova's another corporate state university in Florida, okay? He knows who I am, too. I've sent him many emails before. There's a guy named Joe Kaufman. He's a Jewish guy. He's a Republican. He's ran 6 times against Debbie, but they won't fund him. Now, a few years ago, I called them up. I called some of the richest donors in the Republican Party, and they wouldn't finance Kaufman to throw Debbie out because they want to control both sides. A town hall meeting with a guy named Mike Jackson of Florida. He owns AutoNation. AutoNation is the biggest car dealership in America. This guy was selling cars to Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein had over 200 cars in his stable. He was tied to Epstein at the hip. And then they grandstand recently about this pedophile run. Half of the pedophile people arrested that they said were basically repeat offenders that violated their probation. They had to go re-arrest them. And then they tell you that a big healthcare fraud deal. That's been going on for years. Obama could have busted them people too. Okay? And then they grandstand. As far as Trump, it's New York Mafia style. It's a Mafia style government, but that's the system that we have anyway. Why can't we vote the senators out? There's only 100 of them, and what the elites do, the senators push the bill. The rest of the pigs stay in the background. The senators push the bill, and it passes the Senate, then it goes to the House. There's only 100 and some of them. If we can't vote the senators out, we can't change the tempo of Congress. And if Tim Cordoba gets in there, you might think he's a great guy, you might like him, but he's not going to have much of an impact on anything. He's not. There's never going to be enough people in Congress to change anything, and the system knows that. But when you got 333 million people and you can't vote 100 senators out, it tells you who's in control. I know people are crying their heart out. They're pushing very hard to try to change things. You and all kinds. Look how many websites are on the internet. Now, they do have some impact because they bring an awareness to the public, but they can't even get in debates. Look at Rand Paul or Ron Paul. All them years. He was 20 years in Congress. They can't even get this. So when the midterms come and the next presidency, if they can't get in debates, they will not be heard. They will not be heard, Tim. Let's start a program today. Find somebody. I can't do this. I can't do this because why? Why can't we change anything? Because the American people aren't going to do it. Because everyone's just concerned about themselves, their own blood money, Tim.
You're right.
If you're comfortable, no one wants to live poor. If you live poor, you live pretty miserable sometimes. You live in fear. And the people that don't live that aren't poor, they don't care about the people poor as long as your family. We can't even stop them. They're genociding our children. Did you see the Italians go in the street, about 200,000 of them over the vaccines the other day? We can't even stop them from poisoning their children. We can't protect our children from pedophilia. Half the states in America are allowed underage marriage. Half of them. 26 states permit it. We can't protect our own blood. We're in trouble. But let's start a program. Sign some brilliant people. There's brilliant people. Let's start a program to vote the senators out. You see, like I said, look at these senators. Look how much power they have. If you buy 100 senators, you don't have to worry about the rest of the pigs in Congress. They'll line up behind them. But anyway, I got to go. I appreciate your time. But as far as Tim Cordoba, I contacted him, sent him emails about shows. And AutoNation gives money to that organization too. People are ending up dead now. If you reveal the wrong thing on the right people, you end up dead in America.
I hear you, brother. Look. I appreciate that, man. Curtis' last words. Like, this was the best Curtis call. Curtis, this was the best Curtis call in the last 2 years, Curtis. And his last statement was, if you reveal the right thing or the wrong thing about the right people, you end up dead. Go ahead, Curtis. Preach, Curtis, preach.
Bye, Felicia.
I tell you.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, sucker. Let's get it on.
Curtis, you mean to tell me it's not a conspiracy theory that bad things happen to people who mess with other people's money? Who knew we lived in a country where money was important and you could die over it? No, it's a kooky conspiracy theory that people with money might kill you if you mess up their money or if you threaten their power. Oh, not in America. All right, Curtis, I'm being sarcastic, man. These people that don't believe that that the powerful people wouldn't protect their power is it just doesn't make sense. I don't know what hood they grew up. I don't know what world they grew up in. It's just, I don't know. In the make-believe world of lollipops and unicorns and I don't know. Women made out of horses, man horse running around. And nothing bad happens to anyone. We don't see color, we don't see religion, we don't see gender. Meanwhile, the water's poison, and we drone kids. 90% of our drones kill innocent people, and we don't give a fuck, But it's a conspiracy theory, yeah, hey.
I like what they've done to my car.